Welcome to another edition of Preaching Pointers. And in this little video, I'd just like to spend a few moments thinking about one of the practicalities of preaching, and that is preaching and technology, and specifically about microphones. If these days you go and preach in a church building or invited to speak perhaps at a meeting which is held in a hotel or a conference center or something of that nature, you'll usually have a microphone or be asked to use a microphone. And that'll be for a couple of reasons. One, it will obviously amplify your voice, which is good for you because it's less stress on your voice. You won't have to work so hard, if you like, to project your voice. The other reason often is because it's connected into the hearing loop for those who are hard of hearing, and so you might be asked to wear a microphone or use a microphone for that reason. And basically you'll have two types of microphone. There'll be one which will be fixed, either perhaps onto the pulpit or the lectern itself that you might be asked to use or preach from, or it'll be on a stand in front of you. And when you're using a mic like that, that in one sense is a bonus for you as the preacher. You don't have to worry about it. It's just there doing its thing without you having to control it or do anything about it. One of the disadvantages of that is if when you've got a preaching style, if you like to move around, if you like to roam around your pulpit or roam around the stage where you're being asked to speak from, then it can be limiting if you've got a fixed point mic which you need to be near at all times in order for the sound to be properly picked up by it. And that might be another reason that might be important, because they might be recording the service. And so to get the best sound, they need you to stay by the mic. The other type of mic, of course, is one that is you wear on yourself. So it might be a tie or a lapel mic, or you might have one of these now which is fixed around your ear, and then there's a thin wire which comes on the side of your face to your mouth, and there's the microphone picking up the sound from there. The advantages of these types of microphones obviously is they are on you, so if you do like to move around or you want to move around, there isn't a problem. As you move around, your microphone is going with you, picking up the sound. The disadvantage sometimes of those types of microphones is where you put them, getting them in the right place, either on your tie or lapel, so that the sound is picked up properly. Also, they usually come with a little battery pack, so where do you put that? In your jacket pocket or in your trouser pocket? Usually if it's going in a trouser pocket, you want to make sure that it's nowhere near your mobile phone so that you don't get any interference. The other thing with these mobile mics is there's often a cable from the battery pack to the microphone which is fixed to you, and often you can have all this spare cable that you need to do something with, and you need to make sure it's properly stuffed in a pocket or somewhere out of the way so that you, as you're preaching, don't get caught on it, or if you're moving around the pulpit, that trailing wire won't get caught on some of the furniture and you find your mic yanked off you at short notice. The other thing with microphones is to be aware of who's controlling it. When you go to some places, there might be a sound technician at a sound desk and they say to you, well, I'll control it. You don't worry about the controls. When you're speaking, I'll put it up. When there's singing or you're not speaking, I'll put it down. It may be that you'll be required to control the mic. So if you've got, when you get to the church, you'll need to make sure who's controlling it, and if you're controlling it, how to operate the controls. Most of them have an on and off switch, and it's just a question of moving the switch from one position to another. But then you've got to remember when you're speaking to put it on, and when you're not speaking or singing, if you don't want your lovely voice to come across the sound system, to make sure you put it off at the appropriate times. And on the question of putting it off, please do make sure your microphone is off. If you're having any perhaps private conversations with someone in the church, either before or after the service. Often if it's after the service, I tend to take the microphone off straight away and hand it to someone or put it on the pulpit, so there's no danger of any private conversations being picked up, or making sure it's turned off before you use the facilities. If you need to go to the toilet perhaps before you preach, then make sure the microphone is turned off. There have been occasions where the sounds of the facilities have been broadcast over the church audio system, or private conversations have begun to come over the church audio system. So do make sure your microphone is off at the appropriate times. So what I just want to say about this is, if you're going to speak in a location you haven't been before, in a church you haven't been before, at a centre or that you haven't been before, it's worth having that conversation about whether you will be required to use a microphone, what type of microphone it will be, and who will be controlling it. And then also, if getting to the location or to the church where you're going to be speaking or preaching in good time, in order to be able to check that equipment out, test it to make sure it works and get it fitted on you correctly if it's going to be a mobile one, and make sure that you understand, if you're required to operate it, what the controls are and how to use those controls, so you can switch it on and off as you need to. So there we are, just a few little practical pointers around the use of microphones when you are preaching. I hope that was of some help to you. If it was, then please like the video, and if you want to get notified when other little preaching pointers videos are being published, then please subscribe to the channel and you'll get notified of when those have been published. So thank you again for listening to another edition of Preaching Pointers.